She played Holly Marshall in all 43 episodes of the series. She's also a singer, author of 2 books, including Run, Holly, Run. Here is Kathy Coleman.
Hi there.
Hi, Kathy. How you doing?
Hi, Jerry. Great. I'm excited. This is so much fun. I'm back with the fam.
Is indeed fun. And he starred as Holly's older brother, Will Marshall. What's that?
I said, thank you, Wizard World, by the way. This is wonderful.
Thank you for being here. We're going to be here anyway, but not without you. So thank you. He starred as Holly's older brother, Will Marshall, also in all 43 episodes. He had a long run on Days of Our Lives. He's also a writer, director, producer, and he created the long-running TV series Dragon Tales. Say hello to Wesley Eure.
Hey, guys.
And in a familiar position.
Well, listen, I'm in our yellow raft. We go over the waterfall in the opening of Land of the Lost. And in the live shows at Wizard World, we bring the raft, and Kathy and Phil and I get in the raft. And since we can't do it there, I thought, well, we got to keep the experience going. So I'm going to do the interview in our yellow raft. Here we
go. It was about a year ago in Sacramento. You were with us. You were singing the theme song from the raft, and fans were taking photos with you in the raft. That was a lot of fun.
They heard that theme song way too many times.
Well, maybe we'll get to that later. We'll see how this one goes. Before I bring in the last guest, just a reminder, or just a note for fans. We got people watching from all over the world. So here's the folks have checked in already from Australia, France, Kentucky, Arizona, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, California, Maine, Blue Georgia. Someone says Blue Georgia. So we'll go with that as well. So if we got all over the world, we have people watching who appreciate you being with us on all of our channels. And finally, rounding out the young members of the Land of the Lost cast, he appeared in 29 episodes as the adolescent hominid Shaka. Here is Phillip Paley.
Hey.
Shaka, how are you?
Hi, Jerry. I'm well, thanks.
All right. Well, look at this. The gang's all here. We're back together. We've got a raft. We're going over the side, and we're heading into Land of the Lost. First thing I just want to ask, it seems like this, but it seems like it was a ton of fun to do this series. How much fun was this to film?
It was a blast. I mean, we had the best gig in town. We had 2 sound stages. One was a lagoon and the front of our cave and this huge jungle. Then we had another sound stage that was the interior and the giant chroma key blue, which is now green screen, but where we got to run from the dinosaurs. And plus the cast, to this day, I always say that the Kroffts didn't just cast my TV family, but they cast my real family, because we are all just like brothers and sisters to this day.
It was like a real jungle gym, literally. Phil and I used to run around like crazy, getting all kinds of trouble together. It was exciting. And, for kids, it was the optimum show to work on, without a doubt.
Yeah, being kids, when we were on the show, there was so much to look around and wonder about, because you had the set, you had all the people working, from the set designer guys and the grips, and everyone was doing something, and so there was lots to check out as a kid. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, the sets were awesome, right? I mean, you got the cave, but then you were out in different parts of the forest and different parts. And, how much fun was that, just like being all over the place and having those different kind of visuals that were part of this?
Well, it was great. And, we filmed 2 episodes a week, which was unheard of. It took 2.5 days to film an episode. In fact, I talked to Sid Krofft recently, and I reminded him of that fact. He goes, "You did it that quickly?" I go, "Yes, Sid, you cheap budget, you." And he just laughed and said, "Yeah, you're right." But it was amazing. We had all the guest stars that came on, all the monsters, and the Sleestak especially, which were just terrifying. And they came on, I think, in the 2nd or 3rd episode, and the ratings went through the roof. And Marty Krofft told me that Land of the Lost became NBC's #1 show, not just Saturday morning, but #1 show when the Sleestak came on.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys
I was thinking the other day, like every morning that we would walk into the set, they had like rearranged everything in the evening. And so when we'd walk in the morning, everything was laid out for the day of like where we were going to be and what we were going to be doing. And I remember those mornings being really excited. Like I could see that, oh, wow, we're going to be in there. We're going to be getting in the water. We're going to be doing something else in the net that hung over the pit and stuff. And those were exciting times, really fun.
And you have to remember that Phil and Kathy were just little kids then. I mean, Phil, how old were you? You were like 8?
I was like 10 or 11 when we started. Yeah.
And you were,
and I had just turned 12.
And Phil was the youngest black belt in karate in the United States, which was, and one of my favorite things, if you Google it, you see Phil on the Johnny Carson show. Well, tell us about it, Phil, about your trainer and that.
Well, that's actually how I got the part on the show, was through my martial arts, and I was on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and my teacher Chuck Norris, and we did a little bit with Johnny Carson, and that's, I think, I'm pretty sure the producers saw that, because I got called shortly after that appearance and for the interview. So, and that's how my martial arts segued into being cast for Chaka.
That's amazing. Well, yeah, especially they wanted somebody that could do like monkey things.
Actually, one time we had 7 callbacks.
Yeah.
No,
you had 7 callbacks for this?
We all went on 7 callbacks for this to audition for Land of the Lost. And I remember it was either the 2nd or 3rd callback. I walked in and Phil was there, and I had worked with Phil before. And I was like, why are you here? I just thought it was the mother, brother, and father on the show. And he said that he was auditioning for this character, Chaka, and that we got to work together. We were friends prior to Land of the Lost. So it was really exciting that he was going to be there.
My favorite story is that they were in a commercial
right,
together.
Yeah.
They were in a commercial together, and they played brother and sister. I don't know how old you guys were, really young. And you're sitting in the backseat of a thing Volkswagen, and you sang a song. You got to sing it for us. Got to. Go ahead. You're going.
Are you ready, Phil?
Okay, I think so.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I like munching. I like crunching. We like eating Cheez-Its. Great cheese tasting every bite. We like eating Cheez-Its. So I like munching.
I like crunching. We like eating Cheez-Its.
I love the wild taste of cheese.
Hey, more Cheez-Its, please.
They're great crunching crackers.
I mean, it's true. They are.
They're delicious. We were in a Volkswagen, a yellow Volkswagen thing out in the middle of the country, driving down the road, like singing out the back seat of the car and waving at like milkmen and people on the side of the road. It was pretty funny.
And Jerry, one of the things I love is that Kathy's wardrobe was like iconic. The red checkered shirt and the pigtails, but that wasn't the Kroffts who created. Tell them, Kathy.
Oh, my mother actually dressed me very similar for the first audition. And there's sort of a rule of thumb in auditioning for whether it's a commercial or a pilot or a movie. If you go on the first interview and they like what they saw, don't change your clothes. Every time they call you back, wear the same thing. So I don't know, I wore it 7 times in a row in front of them. So that was what my wardrobe actually became, something very similar. That red and white checkered shirt and the corduroy pants was something very similar to what I wore on the interview.
Yes,
but Wesley, you have tooted our horns, and we haven't got to say what you were to us on the show. Wesley truly, to this day, is the best big brother you could ever wish for. And he started that whole mentoring on the set. He's really an amazing person.
Oh,
we all love each other like crazy.
We do. I'll call Phil and I go, "Ooh, hey, Phil, did you get a new flea collar? Huh? Oh, guns will be sucking."
Well, you've got a bunch of fans. We mentioned where they're from, but they're all chiming in. Mark Chalpin said this is the best thing all week. And that's saying something because we had something, else happen today. Kurt Ryan says one of my favorite shows as a kid. Thanks for doing this. You got some questions from some folks, which we'll get to. But real quick, I want to ask you guys here at the top before we get too far away from it. Sid and Marty Krofft, how much did you know about like the HR puffin stuff? And how much did you know about Sid and Marty? Had you been exposed to it before you went on this audition and before you took part in this? Or
I was a fan. Yeah, I was a fan of Sid and Marty Krofft's kids shows before I auditioned for the part. I loved all the shows. I mean, there wasn't one I didn't like or watch when I was a kid. So when I heard that they were doing this new show, I was, super excited to be part of it because, I knew what they did and all the, great creativity that they, had achieved in every show. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I was older, so I knew of them, and of course, when I was a kid, Johnny Whitaker, when I'd watch him on like the Disney Channel and like Huck Finn or the Littlest Angel, I would say, oh my gosh, one day I want to be an actor like that guy. And then suddenly to see him on Sigmund, and then in later life to become really dear friends. The Kroffts have provided an awful lot of fun in our lives and family. And I still talk to Sid. Yeah, Sid will call me now. He'll call me and he'll talk. Well, we don't talk for an hour. I listen for an hour with Sid because once he starts talking, he'll just stop nonstop and then go, "Oh well, I gotta go," and it'll be an hour later. It's been the best listen you've ever had.
He's got great stories.
Yeah, because Mama Cass and Michael Jackson, who lived down the street, everybody would come to his house and hang out. And when he worked in, the puppet world, and it's amazing. And Sid's 91 now, and I think Marty's 6.
We have a question here from Patrick Moody, and I'll expand his question a little bit. He wants to know what it was like working with Spencer Milligan as a TV dad, and I guess I want to expand that to say, what was it like when when he was replaced by Ron Harper as Uncle Jack? Did it change the dynamic of the show? But first, what was it working with both of those stars?
Well, Kathy, you had
me to start?
Experience. Yeah.
I love Spencer. I loved the family that we had for the first 2 seasons. It was an adjustment when Ron came on. I actually did the auditioning for him. They wanted to see what kind of chemistry I had. So I read with 50 different men that auditioned, and I picked Ron Harper. And it wasn't Spencer. It was, Dad was Dad. And we still have seen him recently, and he's doing good, and he's just a real joy. He's very funny. He had us laughing all the time. So, yeah, it was.
When Spencer calls me now on the phone, he'll call and goes, "Hey, Wesley, this is your papa calling." And it's really like family. We're totally family. And he has a great life. He lives on a beautiful estate, sort of isolated, and teaches acting and acts in plays and things like that. And he's amazing. Because all of us did a reunion show in Milwaukee. Troy Canunion put this together, and all the Sleestak came back. Well, many of the Sleestak came back. And Ta and Sa, which were Chaka's mom and dad, we just had this amazing reunion a couple of years ago. And Spencer, of course, was there.
Bill Boyd was one of the originals. He was there. The Sleestaks.
Couple more.
My favorite story is as you know about the Sleestak, as you mentioned, Bill Laimbeer, the Detroit Pistons, was a Sleestak when he was in college, and they were all basketball players earning extra bucks to put themselves through school, and of course Laimbeer became the bad boy of basketball, and he's known as this snarly, nasty basketball player. And Kathy and I were in Vegas for the Star Trek convention. Was it last year? Year before? Last year, I guess. Anyway, we surprised Bill. he was coaching the Aces, the ladies basketball team in Las Vegas. And we went over there, and the women in the basketball team had been prepared for it, so they knew we were coming. So they had 8x10s of a Sleestak head, and we walked in and had the Sleestak. We had Sleestak heads. Bill saw us. He didn't know we were coming, and of course he's 7 feet tall. I mean, I'm short too. So, and as soon as we walked in, all of his team put their Sleestak faces in front of them, and he just sort of freaked out. And the head of the league said to me, "I've known Bill a long time, and I've never seen him smile that much." And it was a great reunion.
That's tremendous. So Daryl Lee Smith says, "I had this stupid grin I can't wipe off my face. Loved the show." Kurt Ryan said he was bummed when the show ended without any resolution. Do you know if there was ever any discussion about having them rescued? Or this was a long time for a Sid and Marty show to last. Anyway, 3 years and 40-something episodes. Most of this stuff was, one and done or a couple things. Do you remember the end of the series and kind of if you thought it was going to be another, as we see Sleestak finding its way onto Kathy's screen?
I'm taking his mask off. I think we're safe.
Well, I think at the end of the third season with Ron, we didn't know if the show was going to be picked up or not. So there never was. But two things happened. There is an episode at the end of the first season called The Circle. It's my favorite episode, where we actually, the time mist in the time doorway is stuck. And Enoch says to us, he says, "You must leave." And I said, "You mean, Enoch, we can go home?" He goes, "No, you must go home. 3 must leave, so 3 may enter." And so it was a paradigm, it was a loop. And so Kathy and our dad, Will and Marshall and Holly, we went through the time mist doorway, and our doppelgangers came through and started all over in Land of the Lost again. So it was really, one of the great things about Land of the Lost was David Gerald was our head writer, wrote Trouble with Tribbles for Star Trek. We had all these DC Fontana, all these amazing sci-fi writers. So the sci-fi, if you look at some of the scripts, are truly amazing, talking about paradigms. And for Saturday morning, that was really heady stuff.
Want to remind everyone, you can go to wizardworldvirtual.com a week from today. So if you're watching it live, it's next Saturday. If you're watching it on replay, it's Saturday the 14th. Live video chats, and it's both. You can do individual live video chats with any of these three, or all three together, which we rarely do at Wizard World. You can do a 1-on-3, maybe 1-on-4 with Sleestak joining Wesley there in the back. But live video chats are available. You can get those at wizardworldvirtual.com. Autographs, recorded videos also available. Those are a lot of fun from these 3 stars. So reliving a little bit of our childhood here at Wizard World Virtual Experiences, and Land of the Lost is certainly a big part of it for a lot of people. Rita Belanca says, "Love your enthusiasm. This show was such a part of my childhood." We're getting so many comments from people about that.
I wore my Sleestak shirt, and I didn't even
see your Sleestak shirt. I love it.
I got my Chaka shirt.
Philip got your Chaka shirt, and Philip, you have
your Chaka shirt on, Phil?
Yeah.
Show it. Let me see. I can't see your Chaka shirt.
I see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't see it.
There it is.
I decided the Sleestak never get a voice. And I thought that it was a guest star. I figured the 3 of us, we needed to have a guest star show.
How'd you get Bill Laimbeer to come back? I don't get it.
How are you? This is Slatchar talking Sleestak. Say that. Is there something you would like to say?
That's all you can say. You're Sleestak. You shush everybody.
And I agree. The Kroffts should have paid you more money. That's just ridiculous. But he insisted on coming on and saying hi to everybody.
They paid him scale.
So the Sleestaks spoke in that language, and at least at the beginning, Philip, you were speaking in the Pakuni language. Did you create those words, or did they kind of in the script say you have to say this for water, or did you just kind of come up with those words?
And no, the language was created for the show by a UCLA linguist, and she created the Pakuni language using, I think, probably derived from 3 different languages, and there was an actual dictionary that the words meant certain things. So I was actually had to memorize a different language that no one had ever really used before. And, it wasn't just ad-libbing. I had to actually, use words that actually meant something so that we could use them again and they could mean the same thing. So,
like water was probably used a lot of times. It was one of the words that they first
O2,
learned.
I think, or OSA.
Might have been the first word they learned how to say to communicate. And then at some point you were speaking English.
Ota is fire.
Ota is fire.
Ota, yeba, ota.
Yeah, you were the only one though. Your brothers there, they never really learned English. You were the only one.
Yeah, well, I have
Osu.
greater
Osu
intelligence, I
is
guess.
That's why they wanted you.
Yeah, it was
Bill, Osu. Osu is water.
Yeah.
Ota is fire.
Right.
In
Tell them
fact,
big magic.
one of our guests here, one of our fans, Mark Chalpin, said that the Pakuni dictionary is online. You can actually go and find the dictionary online. Someone has culled that together, which is awesome. But I think everything is online these days, so that's great.
Jerry, we had a contest to have for fans to rewrite the opening theme song in Pakuni using the dictionary. And we had a wonderful winner she created this amazing song, which you can sing in Pakuni now.
It might be right alongside in Star Trek, the Vulcan language, I guess, is the two most popular fictional languages in popular culture. No?
Yeah, and I saw one episode where Phil. It's amazing. I mean, you have to remember, Phil's 10 years old, and he's has to learn exactly this language. And there's one episode where he speaks almost nonstop in the whole episode. It's like 22 minutes of Pakuni, of Chaka speaking. And I'd forgotten about it. And what it took for Phil to learn that language, not even to perform it and do the acting, but he also had to speak this language correctly. It's truly remarkable, I thought. So.
We have a couple different fans. So speaking of pop culture, did you all have the thermos and the lunchbox? And you have to have had that. Everyone had that.
Yes.
We had the game.
I saw there was something on Facebook today. Somebody bought a thing I'd never seen of us before. I mean, after all these years, there's a new product from the 70s, and it was that projecting screen, that one that projected the images on the wall, called Show something or another. Show projector, something.
Yeah.
With the Land of the Lost Strip.
I had the Viewmaster.
Yep. Coloring books. A lot. We had
Golden books.
I didn't really have any of the stuff when I was a kid. It was only as an adult I sought them out, and I went and bought my own lunchbox and got the stuff that I could get. So.
Hey, you're all on the lunchbox there, along with Grumpy there. Having a rough day, Grumpy right there.
We can't let him eat Chaka, for gosh sakes. I mean,
I know. Poor Chaco was always being attacked by Grumpy. A couple more fans. Jeff Lieboff saying he still has his lunchbox, and James Mueller just saying hi to everyone. Great to see you all.
Hi, James. I wore your shirt, James.
Up, James. So there you go, James, friend of the family here, which is great.
James started the Land of the Lost Facebook page, which
excellent.
Exploded, which has been lovely.
Couple of different fans asking this. Let me see if I can find Lloyd Bruegel. Wanted to know what you guys thought of the Will Ferrell movie remake and how it fit into the Land of the Lost world and universe.
Well, it was different. It was definitely a different take on the original. I'd say overall was disappointing for us. I think Kathy and Wesley. Fans. Yeah, for the fans. But Kathy and Wesley actually got small parts in the movie, but it didn't. I think they were cut. So I was hopeful. I was hopeful to see that when I went to the preview, but.
I think the fact that Sid and Marty Krofft at Comic-Con actually apologized to the fans a couple of years after the movie came out says everything.
That kind of gives you an indication, right, of what they thought of it or what have you. It's hard to translate something from an era that it was 1974, and the special effects were were what 1974 special effects were like. How did you guys shoot that when you shot the shots with Grumpy and with Dopey, and did you shoot it with them, with the characters there, or how did they do that? How did they film that?
It was the first time it had ever been on television. It was state of the art. They melded film with videotape. It had never been done. In fact, it didn't work the first day we shot, and they panicked. So what happened was we had a giant green screen, or blue screen at the time, and we were on it, and they shrunk us down on the screen, and they played the video of like Grumpy running towards us, and they'd say, look at that light up there, and that's his head, and run this way, and we did, and they would be able to shrink us and make us proportional to but it was actually state of the art. Literally, they had some of the best technicians in Hollywood working on it. And now, of course,
they had like a big cylinder. There was a big blue cylinder that I sat on, and that's how I actually rode the baby brontosaurus, Dopey.
Wanted to ask, there weren't a ton of guest stars, right? There were some, but because you're Land of the Lost, you didn't have different people coming through every day like it was, an episode of a sitcom. But a couple in particular I wanted to ask about. One was Richard Kiel, who was on a few episodes, a veteran actor. And then John Locke. John Locke pops in, and he's Wagon Train, and he's Highway Patrol. And what were your memories of those two in particular? And then if there's another guest that you want to talk about, certainly you can. But I wanted to ask about those two in particular.
Richard Kiel had the biggest hands I've ever shook hands with. He was on twice. He played the Cyclops, right? Am I right on that one?
He was in second season.
He was a caveman in one, and then Malachi was the character that he played. And his feet, Wesley talks about his hands, his feet would give the Laker guy, what's his name, a run for his money.
Abdul-Jabbar?
No, Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, Shaquille. Either one.
Yeah, he had the Richard Kiel. He was 7'2".
Yep.
And his wife was only 5'1".
They met at a college bar. They were in college, and because we would do Star Trek conventions with him later, because he was on Star Trek.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk with him, and he told us his story of meeting his wife, and what a great guy.
I just remember he was really sweet. He was very kind and
gentle.
Gentle giant.
Well, this wasn't a guest star on our show, but he was a visitor, Elton John, and we had Charo come on the show to watch.
And neighbors.
She chased Phil around, wanting to coochie-coo him.
Coochie-coo.
So, this show was a phenomenon. I think people today, I don't think there's anything. There were 3 networks, and then this was one of the shows that kids watch. But it was a phenomenon that would attract like a Charo. That's amazing that those guests. What did those stars say to you guys when they came on set? They were just excited to see you, or they loved the show, or what was kind of their reaction?
Well, the sets were just exciting themselves. And so, we were on, it was called Hollywood General Services at the time. Now it's called the Hollywood Studios or something. But originally it was the Charlie Chaplin Studios. And so there were other sound stages on our lot. And so people would be working around us, and they'd, come on to our show because it was unique and it was fun. There was always something going on.
Sylvester Stallone came on.
In the 3rd season, at our closing party.
Yeah, he was. It was amazing. He thought Kathy was very cute.
Yeah, he asked me out. And I told him, I said, I'm only 14. He said, I don't care.
Maybe we should turn to another.
No, the third season was like the season where we had the most guests for some reason. There was like always some, the Kroffts would bring people to the set because it was, it was exciting and
Medusa.
Impressive,
Was that Medusa was the 3rd season also, I think, right?
Yeah.
You had a actress there you saw, but right, the show was really.
We had cowboys, we had Indians, we had a band with an umbrella that flew. We had an astronaut, Ron Masak flew in.
That's right. The 3rd season, we had all sorts of wacky characters end up in the land of lost.
Well, we also moved to the lost city because what happened was our cave was burned up in a fire at Goldwyn when Sigmund the Sea Monster lit there was a fire at Sigmund. We shared the caves with Sigmund the Sea Monster. So when that burned up, we didn't have caves anymore, so they moved us into the lost city.
It seemed like the only thing Grumpy couldn't do is figure out how to get into the opening of your cave. I don't know why. His brain was only this big, so there you go.
We had a fly swatter, that giant pole.
Yes, he has to learn his lesson. He's got to learn his lesson, right? Question from Ross, and you've mentioned a few already, but if you each want to go around, Ross Burdick wants to know what your favorite, most memorable episode was for you. Was there an episode that you just loved the most, whether it was the way you filmed it or just the way it came out?
I liked Elsewhen, the one where I met my future self, played by Erica Hagen. I had a really neat experience with her. She was a really big influence on my life. And so, yeah, that was great fun for me.
She actually did the forward to Kathy's book. So.
Oh, that's right. 45 years later, she wrote the forward to my book, Run, Holly, Run.
I liked The Musician, which was kind of a passage, rites of passage episode for my character. And I actually got to play myself. Well, it wasn't myself, but I was out of my outfit, Chaka outfit for a scene or two. So I like that one.
But tell them about who played Chaka that day. What happened?
My sister. Because my sister was very close to my size, and so she fit the outfit, and so she got to play Chaka for that episode when we would do scenes together. But she didn't really want to do it that much, so she would cry because she was not totally happy, like being on set or having to do stuff. But she ended up doing it, and she pulled it off like a pro.
Pathetic Earthling wanted to know, and it's a good follow-up to that. How much was it costume and how much was makeup? Was it, and then how long did the makeup take? Because you are almost completely covered. Like, you wouldn't know it was you unless they told you.
Well, my face was my face. I had a prosthetic headpiece that had like a forehead, and the makeup, Academy Award-winning makeup artist Mike Westmore created the character. And so I had prosthetic teeth, and they would glue hair to my chin line, and but the rest was just like layers of makeup on my face. And it took, in the beginning, it took about a couple hours, but then as the seasons went by, they got a little quicker at it, so it would take about an hour.
Lou Ferrigno
and
has
spray
said
paint on your hands and feet.
Yeah, they would spray colored hairspray on my hands and feet, except they ended up using toe socks. It smelled really bad. And so did the prosthetic teeth. They smelled like stinky feet. So I had to put those in my mouth every day just to get into character.
That sounds exciting.
Hence the scowl on your face.
That's right. You had to be there, I guess, to experience that. Lou Ferrigno always told us sometimes he just stayed in green and drove home, and people look at him funny on the highway. Too much to get in and out every day. But you always changed and got back.
Not always. I mean, sometimes I would go home. My grandfather, he drove me to and from the set and was my guardian. And so sometimes, he wanted to just get home, and like I didn't have time to shower, so I would just jump in with, makeup on and do it at home. But sometimes we'd also be able to clean up on the set. There was a shower. So.
And Phil and I used to go to McDonald's in the daytime in full costume, pretty much. We just disconnect our mics, and like he'd take off his headpiece, but he had the hair on his face and the beard, spray paint on his fingers. Yeah. And I'd have wires coming out of the back of my shirt from my mic.
Have a grumpy burger, please.
I had a plain fillet of fish and a large fry and milk. That was my thing.
And hold the fleas.
That's right.
How much now? I mean, it was a kid show, but how much do you think this influenced later movies, Jurassic Park and E.T. and sci-fi type pop culture movies? How much do you think the success of this influenced those?
Star Wars too. Don't forget, the Wookiee seems to be very closely related to someone else we know from Land of Lost. But I think it, was a popular show, and so I think there was a lot of influence on a lot of other sci-fi movies and TV stuff. Yeah.
You know what's amazing too is it's not just the effect it had on movies, but on careers. We've had more people come up to us and we're like doing autograph shows like Wizard World. We'd be signing autographs and stuff. And we had, for instance, Kathy and I were doing a show, and a guy came up and said, "Listen," he says, "I thought you spoke Farsi." We go, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I lived in Iraq. I used to watch Land of Lost as a kid, and you were dubbed." He said, "But what happens when my brother and I became so interested in science because of Land of the Lost, they became two heads of JPL, Jet Propulsion Lab. And they invited us, Kathy and I, as special guests. And we got to go to JPL. We got to actually go in the room where they had the joystick to move the rover around. We got to play with the joystick with the only guy that's ever driven all rovers. But we've had so many people that became archaeologists and scientists and big famous people in those fields that all started out as kids watching our show."
It makes sense. Another comment from Michael Gardner. He wanted to ask Wesley if you remember taking a picture in the raft with him and Lydia Cornell and Sam Jones in Sacramento with us.
Oh, yeah.
They were in your little row right there.
Listen, this raft has had 4 celebrities. Kathy and I, we did a show, and Lonnie Anderson was in it.
Marianne from Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, Dawn was in it. Listen, it's amazing. We bring our raft, and because it's one thing to sign an autograph and sing the theme song and hug everybody, but we want to give everybody an experience. So we tried to create something that was unique, and the photos, to do something more interactive, which we've done. But it's amazing how many celebrities seek us out to get in our raft for photos for their Facebook page. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We even had an astrophysicist, a few of them, because we did a convention for the Ancient Aliens, and we had astrophysicists in our raft with us, which was really cool.
The guy in Vegas that came to Kathy at the Star Trek, he flew Air Force One, and he came and got into our raft and gave us one of those trading coins. He says the only trading coin higher than this is the President of the United States. So, we've had extraordinary experiences.
That's tremendous. And before I know your Sleestak there was doing some hissing. Question from James Eure. He wanted to know, whenever you encounter the Sleestak, did they make that hissing sound live or was that added later? Do you remember?
Kathy, do you remember?
I think it was added later, because I don't recall them making a noise when we were walking in the caves.
Yeah.
Those outfits, they were wetsuits that Mike Westmore created. So, and those heads, so they were, 7 feet in bare feet. The basketball players like Bill and Beer, and they had stilts on with pointed toes, and their head was pointed, so they were about 10 feet tall in front of us, So
like this.
And if there was any hissing, it was the steam coming out of the outfit, because they were so hot all the time. The set was like 110 degrees, and then these guys were wearing wetsuits on stilts, on platform shoes, and so after 10 minutes, they'd be just dripping in sweat. So
now you guys,
Enoch, the talking Sleestak, he was mic'd, and so he did speak when we would do our scenes. He was actually speaking.
That was Walker Edmondson, of course, voice of Sigmund the Sea Monster,
and a million other voices.
And
yeah,
Phil
well,
Paley, but Joe Giamalva and Sharon Baird were Ta and Saw. But Sharon, and you may remember, for all you oldies out there, she was a Mouseketeer. She was, "Hi, I'm Sharon," on the Mouseketeers.
Another piece of our childhood today. You guys all seem to have like your props and your things. Did you keep any crystals? Did you keep anything from on set? Pathetic Earthling wanted to know. Do you have anything that was actually from on the set?
I actually have my red backpack, my Kelty backpack that was all 3 seasons signed, and my knife. It was a cowhorn knife signed by everybody that we could get, from Sid Marty Krofft to David Gerald to Bill Lambier to, you know, so that's my treasure.
I have one of the dolls that was made for that episode that's Wesley's favorite, The Circle. It was the only dolls that were made of us, and it's where we're spinning around and going into the circle. They used a doll for that, for the special effects, and I still have that.
And I had one, but I don't know what happened to it. But I had the same doll. It was the Chaka version. It was made, I think, out of a Ken doll with hair stuck on it. But that somehow got lost over the years. And the only thing that I have left is one of these black, it was a prop. It was like a black crystalline rock. And that's all and I keep that actually in my Land of Lost lunchbox. So.
It's awesome. So I just want to go around. We're almost out of time, but I do want to go around the room here and just kind of give each of you just a chance to, you know, say hi to the fans or talk about a cause or something you've got going on. And we'll just start. We'll go clockwise around. We'll start with Kathy.
Okay. I'm actually not working really on a project right now, but I was living in the Midwest. I went to become I went to do a job that was an event coordinator for a promoter that I knew that did that one convention where he got all of us together. And of course, COVID hit and that kind of shut down. So now I am back on the West Coast again in my home stomping grounds, and I'm just trying to get adjusted. So that's basically what I'm up to at the moment. And
Wesley?
I just sold a new reality show I'm going to executive produce, which I can't tell you. It's been working 2 years on it. Finally sold, and we have a deal with the network. And as soon as I can say something, we'll be talking about it.
That's awesome. We're going to look for that for sure. And Phillip?
I am in the beginning stages of writing a television show about my life when I was a kid, and how I was at the center of so many different, not just celebrities, but there were. It was weird growing up in the Valley during that time, so weird and wonderful. So I'm starting to write that.
And you're going to cast Kathy and I as your mother and father. We would get a job, don't we, Phil? I mean, you're going to at least give us a job.
Well, we'll see about that.
Sister and brother, maybe.
You know, we haven't sung the theme song to Land of the Lost. I know there's a delay on everybody's.
I think we should still try it, guys. I mean, I think we should try it. I'm going to let you do it. So.
Okay, we'll do it slowly.
Should we do it in chunks?
Well,
how about if we do it in chunks?
Do it in chunks. I'll start. You go. You do it, Phil. Is that good?
Okay.
Sure.
Marshall, Will, and Holly
on a routine expedition
met the greatest earthquake ever known.
High on the rapids, just struck their tiny raft.
And plunged them down 1,000 feet below.
To the land of the lost.
To the land of the lost.
Lost. Roar.
But my favorite is the closing, and even Tenacious D, Jack Black. A lot of rock bands do cover this. They go, "When I look all around, I can't believe the things I found." Kathy?
Oh, now I need to find my way.
I'm lost, find me.
Living in the land of the lost.
Living in the land of the lost.
I don't think you can close any better than that. Want to thank a couple other folks. Slaniwa had said, great panel. John Robluski had a question earlier about Bill Lambier that you guys answered, so thank you. Want to thank at TV Yesteryear, a Twitter group that was for our Twitter handle that was part of this, getting us together, and 5d-blog.com, a podcaster that we're working with. Appreciate those guys being part of it. Don't forget live video chats, autographs, recorded videos. You can do a 1-on-3 live video chat with all 3 of these next Saturday, the 14th. So go to wizardworldvirtual.com for all those opportunities. Also for the upcoming events that we have going on here, wizardworldvirtual.com. We had a big day today. Tomorrow continues with Baywatch here. And a big Veterans Day celebration on Monday with pinups for vets. 5 of the ambassadors for veterans will be with us here, and a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Go to wizardworldvirtual.com for all that. I want to thank our guests today for being with us here. Kathy Coleman, Wesley Eure, Phillip Paley. We appreciate you guys being with us. And we thank everyone. I'm Jerry Milani. Thanks for being with us today at Wizard World Virtual Experiences. Thanks so much, everyone.
Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry, and Wizard World.
This is John Glover, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Lionel Luther recommends it. Have some fun. Follow your fandom.